Welcome back to r/LifeStories, where we read stories about an insane babysitter that tries to kidnap a little boy. If you are new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe to join our awesome community. And without any further ado, let's dive right in. I am not your mama or your mate. Hey there Reddit, just warning everyone now, formatting won't be great and my grammar is bad, but I will try to do my best. So I let my friend and her boyfriend move in with me and my boyfriend and our newborn around October of 2019. They just had a baby and they were homeless the whole time she was pregnant, and they were running out of money since they had to stay at a hotel for a couple months since the baby had been born. They also have 2 large black dogs that shed a lot. When they first moved in, I talked to my friend and told her that since she had the only large animals in the apartment, she would need to vacuum daily, help keep common areas clean and clean up after themselves. I also made sure to be clear that I don't mind sharing food and other household items like toilet paper, paper towels, etc. But they would need to pitch in as well. Well, for the first month, they actually did help out, so I thought that it would work out. I was so wrong. After about 2.5 months, I started reminding her that she was slipping on the housework, and since neither of us work, there was no excuse for doing almost nothing for weeks. Now I started to feel like I was being treated as a maid and personal cook. Not only have I been cleaning, but cooking for everyone, including her family unit. She also has no clue how to meal plan or shop for food. Even though we are supposed to share food, they constantly buy junk food and expect that to be good enough. I have tried giving suggestions, but I cannot help her when she refuses to help herself. They gave me $5 once for toilet paper, and now they just make excuses on why they cannot afford to help with household items, but they always have money to buy weed. I am finally sick of it. I will no longer be cooking meals for everyone or sharing food/household items. Well, this is all I have for now, but if it continues, I might post again. Honestly guys, I mean that's a very nice gesture of OP, but if you had roommates like that, or housemates, I'm not sure what they are called, how would you deal with them? Let us know in the comments. By the way, I forgot to mention, the last story was posted by user Sukari420 on our own subreddit r/RipeStories. The next one was posted by user Mamasan and is titled Family Wars Over Deceased's Handmade Shawl. Background: a friend of mine lost her son in a car accident a few years ago. The son had a handmade shawl for about 10 years that everyone loved but would never take from him. The entire family called it his lucky shawl and he always slept with it wrapped around his pillow. He even took it on trips and never slept without it. So, onto the story. After he passed away, somebody in the family took the shawl without telling anyone. His mother and father, who had been divorced a long time, became frantic about the shawl being missing. They had argued over what to do with it, bury with their son, decide which parent got it, or donate it to charity in son's name. It was still not located until after the son was laid to rest. It turns out a family member had cut it into pieces to give all family a part of the shawl. My friend and her ex were heartbroken and lashed out at the selfish family for basically destroying the shawl. The story behind the story: I was part of a shawl ministry that made handmade wearable crafted clothing for hospice residents. We took care to make them look as nice as possible, which tended to leave a lot of scraps left over. I asked and received permission to use the scraps to make myself a Joseph shawl, like a coat of many colors as written in the Bible. I used scraps of blue and purple yarn together. For some unknown reason, I tossed the shawl into my car even though it was during a blistering heat wave. When I got to my friend's beauty shop to get my hair colored, I noticed she was out of sorts. The other workers and clients were mostly trying to give her space, but I felt something was wrong. After she put the stinky color mix on my hair, I asked her what was wrong. She just broke down bawling. Once we all got her somewhat calm, she told us that just a week ago, her 17-year-old So was diagnosed with a cancerous brain tumor in an inoperable location. The doctors had given him just 6 to 12 months to live. This caused me to remember the shawl in my car. With all the gunk in my hair, I ran out into the very busy parking lot to get it. I returned with it and presented it to her. I told everyone that it was made to give comfort, and my church not only had blessed the finished shawl, they had even blessed the yarn when it had been donated to the church. We all stood in a giant hug with her and the shawl in the middle, saying prayers for her, her son and family. It was almost 4 months till I saw her again. She was bouncing off the walls and full of happy giggles. When I asked her what has happened, she admitted that she had told no one because she wanted to tell me first. Her son had been checked last week for the tumor's growth and the doctors could not find the tumor. Turns out, when she brought the shawl home and told her son, he grabbed it, saying "mine," and proceeded to wrap it around his pillow to sleep on it every night. It seems that a scrap yarn shawl I selfishly made for myself was meant to give my friend and her family an extra decade with her son. And I would definitely say that story is a contender for the top 5 most wholesome stories we have read in 2020 so far. By the way guys, I'm curious, do you have any shawls or towels or maybe even blankets that are very important to you and that you always, or at least at home, keep close to you? You know, I am in a long distance relationship and I have a blanket that my girlfriend made for me, and to be honest, I always wear that around my neck when I go to sleep or when I make videos. But anyway, let's continue. The next one was posted by user Stacy Rose's Me on our own subreddit and is titled "The Time My Little Brother Was Taken Away Because of a Stupid Babysitter." My sister, brother and I were visiting each other when I was reminded about something that happened to my little brother when we were little. This was back when my parents were still together and were not so much into the church like they used to be. I am the oldest of my sister and brother, my brother is the youngest. My sister and I are very protective of him. Back when we were little, my mother and father decided they wanted a date night, so they asked a school friend of my mom's to babysit us kids. At first, this lady that came to babysit us seemed like a nice person, but it was soon apparent that she had a thing against boys. She would treat my sister and I very good, but would berate or yell at my little brother even when he did nothing wrong. Both my sister and I hated this and would tell this woman to leave our brother alone. She would laugh and say, "Girls, boys are beneath you. You must need to teach them now or they will never learn." We were very upset. Later during the night, this stupid woman decided she wanted to get rid of my brother, so she called up some people who we later found out worked in the mental ward of the hospital to come and get my brother. She claimed she was our mother and that my brother was hurting himself and hurting us. These people showed up and started taking my brother away, and both my sister and I were screaming at them to leave my brother alone. All the while, my little brother was crying his eyes out. We even went so far as telling these people that this woman was just our babysitter and that our parents were at a fancy restaurant. But the stupid woman told them that we were just acting out and then said, "Girls, let these people work. Be good or mommy won't give you treats." To which I yelled, "You are not our mom!" And the woman smirked and said, "Darling, go to your room. You're grounded. Wait till your father comes home from work. He would spank you." Of course, I did not go to my room. I started making a scene loud enough where our neighbors heard. But I was not able to stop these people from taking my poor little brother away. He was crying and my sister was crying as well. This stupid woman slammed the door and ordered us both to our rooms and sat her fat ass on the couch, flicking through the channels of the TV. I, being the smartass, said, "What will you tell my parents about my brother?" She said, "I will tell them he ran away." So I went to my room, opened my window and snuck out, running to my neighbor's house. They were on the phone with the police when I banged on their door. I told them what happened and they were upset and shocked and were telling the police everything I was telling them on the phone. The police arrived and questioned me at my neighbor's house and then made their way over to my house where my sister was still in her room crying. They asked the woman who she was and she said, "I am the owner of this house. Why are you here?" Well, these police were no dummies. They already knew this woman was just a babysitter and they knew my parents were at a restaurant. They could hear my sister crying, so they used that as leverage to push their way into the house. My neighbors were there with me and I walked in too. This woman was yelling at me, trying to pretend she was my mother, but my neighbor lady simply said, I've never seen you before in my life, and I've been living here for over 20 years. I know this girl's parents, and you are not one of them. The police were able to call my parents at the restaurant to tell them what was going on. During the time my parents were driving home, the police were asking this woman where my brother was and who took him, but she refused to answer them. She kept saying, "I pled the fifth," smugly. They ended up cuffing her and staying in the house with me and my sister and the neighbors until my parents showed up. My parents were livid. They demanded to know where my brother was and could not seem to get this stupid woman to answer them at all. My sister described the vehicle that took my brother away, and I told the police what the men looked like. I told them how they were wearing white jackets and refused to listen to me and my sister, telling us to not worry, that our brother will be taken care of and will be given the medications he would need. This got the police to start calling medical facilities around the area and the local hospital. Finally, they got some information about where my brother was and the report that the facility was given about my brother. The police explained to them that they overstepped their boundaries and that they essentially kidnapped my brother. The staff said they had a credible report and it was out of their hands. The police called for backup so another car could take this woman away to jail. My parents, my sister and I got into my parents' car and followed the police to the hospital. My neighbors had already given their statement and stayed to watch over our pets while we left. When we got to the hospital, we were finally able to find out that my brother was in the mental ward, which was up on the 4th floor. So we all, my parents, police, a staff worker and my sister, took an elevator to the 4th floor. When we got there, my parents demanded they give back my brother and were yelling at the people there. The police were telling them that what they did was illegal and they kidnapped my brother and were lecturing these people. One older staff woman simply said, "I have no proof he's your child. If you want him back, you will have to pay $55. Well, that was the wrong thing to say in front of the police. They ended up charging this older woman too and had to call her boss to come and release my brother. When my brother was let out to us, he broke away from the two staff that were leading him to us and ran to my parents crying. My parents, my sister and I were all happy to see him and were all hugging and crying. The police simply looked at this older woman and said, "Is that proof enough for you?" She did not say a word. The older woman's boss showed up and was explained the whole situation. He was pissed. He was yelling at the men who came and took my brother away. He was yelling at the older woman too. He was telling them that one does not simply just drive out to a person's house and take minor children away. He told them that there is an investigation process they have to go through that includes CPS. He asked the woman why she allowed this to happen. She said, "Well, my daughter called and said to come get the boy." That is when the police were able to put 2 and 2 together. This older woman is the mother of the babysitter. Her boss told her she was fired and told the men they were suspended with no pay. He apologized to my parents and the officers and told them to take her away, indicating the older woman. She started crying, but everyone ignored her. The hospital staff ended up retraining their people because of all of this. For the longest time afterwards, my siblings and I were afraid every time we saw a white vehicle and would have panic attacks. My brother stopped being the joyful little boy he used to be and would be withdrawn. It took a couple of years before he was able to get back to his old self. I remember my family constantly going to court proceedings because of all of this. I remember my sister, brother and I talking to the judge when we went to the hearing with our babysitter there. Both the babysitter and her mother were sentenced to jail and my parents were awarded some big sum of money which they used to buy our first house. I still remember that house. It was not far from the old house we lived at, but it was in better shape and we each got our own bedrooms. I don't know how long the babysitter or her mother served time for it, but it was scary going through all that and going to court too. The hospital staff ended up going to court as well to tell what happened with the older woman as well. The boss of that woman was visibly distraught that something like this could happen and kept apologizing over and over again. My parents ended up telling him it was not his fault, it was the fault of the woman and her mother. The judge was not happy that children had to go through something as traumatic as this and was basically lecturing our babysitter. He then asked her if she had anything to say in her defense. She said, "I hate boys," and did not say anything else after that. Her court-appointed lawyer tried saying she had some kind of mental problem, but the judge was not buying it and sentenced her. If my memory is correct, her mother got less time in jail than she did. Sometimes my brother, he's an adult now, still has nightmares about that time. He had a lot of issues after that incident, but tried to better himself. After that day, my sister and I were very protective of him. If we saw someone picking on our brother, we both would step in and sometimes even fight the bully or whoever it was that was picking on my brother. I ended up getting in trouble a lot for defending my brother and sister in school, but whenever my parents would be called to the school because of it, my father would tell the principal, "My daughter is doing what she's supposed to do, and that's looking out for her little brother and sister, and if this school cannot protect them, then she will." Whenever they would try to suspend me or kick me out of school, my parents would threaten to get their lawyers involved, so I never got suspended or kicked out of school. Kids that would pick on my siblings would know not to, because they knew I would protect them, even if that meant I had to fight those kids. I am still protective of my siblings to this day. My brother, sister and I are close, and we will always stand up for each other and help each other no matter what. I am thankful that I have my siblings. They accept me for the person I am and support me in all that I do, and I am the same with them. We have been through a lot together as siblings, and I have many stories of some things we went through, but decided to tell this one because we were reminded of it when we were going through old paperwork to get rid of. We found the old court papers. My brother jokes that he has a story to tell his kids when he has them. He had gotten therapy because of what happened and used to take meds to help with his anxiety back then. He's better now. Anyways, I'm sorry I rambled on and this story was too long. I hope you all have the support of family. Have a good night, everyone. And Stacy, please don't apologize. This story was absolutely awful and amazing at the same time. It is awesome to have siblings that you can rely on and that you have a good relationship with. By the way, guys, I'm curious, how is it for you? Do you have siblings? And how is your relationship with them? I actually have 3 siblings, and you know, sometimes it's not easy being the youngest, but in general, I'm very glad to have them. Tell me how it is for you. Taken to the police station because I defended myself. Still angry over this. Also posted by user Stacy Rose on our subreddit. She is saying, "I'm not proud of my actions, but I just got home from a long night of defending my actions at the local police station. Let me explain to you what happened so you understand. I went out with a couple college friends to just hang out and party a little. Nothing major, there was no drinking involved. We wanted to have fun, but remain sober. So we get to this party/club, whatever you call it, and we are just hanging out having fun. The music was very loud and for the first hour things were going great. I had excused myself to head to the bathroom and that is when I bumped into trouble. This guy had to be at least 6 foot something, he was tall and a little good looking. He blocks my path and proceeds to hit on me and I simply say, "I'm not interested. Could you please step aside so I can get to the ladies' room?" He laughs and says, "How could you not be interested?" and does this lame thing of kissing his muscles. Biggest turn off ever. I cannot stand narcissists. I just roll my eyes and say, "I have a boyfriend and even if I didn't, I would not be interested. Now move." And I shove past him to go to the ladies' room. When I came out of the ladies' room, this stupid guy was still there. This time he puts his arms on the wall behind me to kind of block me in, but I dodged him and went under his arms and started to walk away. Well, Mr. Narcissist did not like this and tried to stop me by grabbing my hair. He yanked my ponytail so hard I almost lost my balance. I turned around and glared at him and said, "What the hell is your problem? Can't you get through your pea brain that I don't want anything to do with you? Leave me the hell alone, you stupid idiot." Yes, I swore. I started to walk away again. Mr. Narcissist stopped me again and said, "I just want your number. Give me your number and I will leave you alone." So I looked at him and said, "My number is 1-800. Leave me the hell alone." And went back out to the main room. And yes, he followed me. He grabbed my arm and said, "Just because you're a ginger doesn't give you the right to shoot guys down." So I said, Just because you are a male does not give you the right to harass females. Now leave me alone, you stupid piece of crap. And pulled my arm out of his grip and found my friends. I told them what happened and they were angry. They asked me what guy it was, so I pointed at the tall blonde dude standing in front of the hall that leads to the restrooms that was glaring at us. My friends wanted to go up and give him a piece of their minds, but I told them to let him be and let's just have fun. For another hour, Mr. Narcissist did not bother us and we were starting to relax and have fun listening to the music and hanging out. That fun did not last long. I was sitting on the couch with my friends when Mr. Narcissist came towards us and yanked me up off my feet and said,
"You're coming with me."
I laughed and said, "No, I'm not," and pulled myself out of his stupid, greasy hands. My friends started screaming at him to leave me alone. Others around us started to notice what was happening. I guess Mr. Narcissist liked the attention he was starting to get and said,
"Don't worry, she's my girl. She's just a female dog."
And I laughed again and said, "You're dreaming, buddy," and sat back down with my friends. Some people started to ignore us, but others just kept watching to see what would happen. Mr. Narcissist pulled me back up on my feet again and yelled,
"Just one dance."
And I yelled back, "No," and pulled myself out of his hands again. I was starting to lose my patience with this jerk. My friends were yelling at him again. This guy came over and asked us if there was a problem, and Mr. Narcissist said,
"No problem, dude. My girl is just being a female dog."
And the guy said, "Fella, I've seen her here before. She's not your girl. I know her guy and it is not you. Leave her alone or we are gonna have a problem here, okay buddy?" Mr. Narcissist just nodded and left me and my friends at that time. We thanked the guy that came to our rescue and continued to enjoy our night. My friends and I decided to get a few drinks, no alcohol of course, because we were getting thirsty. One of my friends left to go to the restrooms while the other went to order drinks for us. I stayed on the couch holding our spots. Well, in comes Mr. Narcissist again. He plopped down right next to me and put his arm around me, so I did the only thing I could think of, and that was to punch him square in the face. I hit him hard enough where I saw his nose bleed and he jumped up and screamed,
"Stupid female dog."
And I just smiled at him and said, "That's what you get for not listening the first time I told you I'm not interested." He ran off towards the restrooms just as my friends were coming back and I told them what happened. I guess Mr. Narcissist had called the police on me because soon afterwards the police were there. I noticed Mr. Narcissist was talking to them and they came up to me and well, I got arrested for defending myself. My friends were yelling at the police, other people were yelling at the police, but they just took me out to their car and took me to the station. I noticed Mr. Narcissist was looking smug as I was being driven away. When we got to the station, the police officer that took me to the station started asking for my side of the story. To say I was angry is an understatement because I was pissed. I said, "Oh, now you want my side of the story." He apologized to me and said,
"Would you like to tell me what happened?"
I, still being angry, asked, "Am I under arrest?" He said,
"No, but I would like to know your side of what happened."
I said, "You couldn't ask for my side at the club?" "No, instead you take me out of there and put me in your car without saying one word to me while you were taking me away. You violated my rights." He again apologized and said he was responding to a call that a woman violently attacked a man at the club. While I was still there, this officer got a call from the other officers that stayed at the club stating that they have arrested the victim. I was pissed that they were calling this jerk a victim and basically blew up at the cop. I stood up and yelled, "Victim? Victim? He's not the victim, he's the instigator. He kept harassing me and would not take no for an answer. Ask all the people there who saw it. Ask my friends. I am so angry right now. How dare you bring me here and not get the facts?" The officer that was with me said,
"Calm down, ma'am. I understand how you feel."
Me, still being angry, said, "Oh, you understand? Have you ever been taken forcibly away, scared out of your mind and questioned like this? I don't think you understand at all. You took me out of there, holding my hands behind my back without getting all the facts. You did not tell me if I was under arrest or not. You did not ask for my side of the story. You just took me away in front of my friends, humiliating me. And you want me to calm down?" I was so angry I was shaking. Meanwhile, I guess Mr. Narcissist got arrested, but I did not find out until later because I was still at the police station. I had no way of knowing what was happening at the club, but my friends did tell me later that he was arrested for filing a false claim. He was arrested for some other things too, but they did not know what. They told me that everyone at the club told the cops what really happened, and they were outraged that I was taken away, seemingly under arrest. There was a lot of shouting from what I heard, and in the end Mr. Narcissist got arrested. Back to me shaking in anger at the police station. I am crying and angry and I cannot control my emotions. I looked at the officer and said, "I would like to go home now, but I have no way of getting home because you took it upon yourself to bring me here. So how do you suppose I'm gonna get home?" He looked at me and said,
"That's not my problem."
Which pissed me off even more. I looked at him and said, "It will be your problem once I get my lawyer involved. You told me I was not under arrest, so I'm gonna call my boyfriend and leave this hellhole. Thank you for ruining my night." And I got up and walked out to the lobby. The officer started following me, and at this point I saw Mr. Narcissist come in with the other officers in handcuffs. He glared at me and I lost it and screamed, "And you think it's right to harass women even after they tell you they are not interested? I hope you get your ass beat in jail because I will be pressing charges." Turning to look at the cop that was questioning me, "And I will be pressing charges against you too for violating my rights." And I stormed out of there. I got on my phone to call my friends to come pick me up. I don't know what is gonna happen to Mr. Narcissist, but at this point of time I hope he rots behind bars. I doubt he will learn his lesson though. My friends came to pick me up and got out of their car, running to me, hugging me. The police did not try to stop me from leaving, but I will call my lawyer once his office is open and explain to him what happened. I am still angry about what happened, but I am home now and my night was ruined. I was having a good night until all that happened. It feels like everything happened so fast, but it actually happened within many hours. My boyfriend is angry that all this happened and he wants to head down to jail to beat the crap out of Mr. Narcissist, but I told him to stay with me because I needed him. He's on the phone with the police at the station right now to find out what's gonna happen to Mr. Narcissist while I am sitting here in my bedroom typing this up. I am still upset and cannot control my shakes. When I got home, all I could do is cry. It is early in the morning now and I am worn out. I just want to sleep, but I don't think I will be able to fall asleep because of all this pent-up rage inside me. I'm not proud of my actions, but I doubt I would have acted differently because of all the crap that went down. I've never been treated like this by police before. Normally, I have a lot of respect for the police, but right now, all I can see is red. That officer that questioned me, I want him retrained or suspended or something. I don't really want him fired, but he should be retrained. He did apologize, but at the time, I was too angry to accept it. It will be a while before I go to the club with my friends again. Well, Stacy, thank you very much for posting the story, but I'm sorry that you had to go through such a traumatic experience. And for the other people in the comments, has something similar ever happened to you? And furthermore, has police ever treated you in such a bad way? Let us know in the comments. And the last one is titled, "Weird Police Call on My Brother's Birthday." Cross-posted from most stories and funny stories. First of all, mobile warning and native English speaker, so roast me on grammar. On my brother's last birthday, my brother, my friend and I went magnet fishing. Fun activity for my brother's birthday. Well, the first spot we went to, there was nothing. But the second is the interesting spot. The second spot is a bridge near where I live that is nice for fishing and swimming, but if you know the place, you know the backstory of it. We were on one side of the bridge fishing and got some things, but I decided to go to the other side and that is where it happened. I had cast it out and when I reeled it back, in there was a blasting cap on the magnet and they thought I was pulling their legs when I yelled at them that I found it. My friend decided to come over and when he saw it, he told my brother that I was not joking around. We decided my brother would call the non-emergency number, but he got told to contact the ATF, then transferred to bomb squad, where then was told to wait for an officer. When he got there, he did the normal getting information and asked if we had anything still under the bridge and we said all we had down there was our magnets and what all we pulled. We took him down and showed him it. He asked my brother about the magnets and the officer asked if the magnets were strong enough to hold a gun and was told yes. And he pulled his gun out of the holster and stuck it to the magnet my brother was holding and was surprised at how strong it was. We were then asked to leave so he could tape off the area before bomb squad showed up. Too long didn't read, I find a blasting cap while magnet fishing and police were called. By the way guys, I'm curious, do we have any ripe stars in the comments that enjoy to go fishing? You know, fishing was always something that I would have loved to do, but I simply don't have anyone in my family or circle of friends who enjoys fishing. Furthermore, I also had to Google the word blasting cap, and apparently it is a sort of detonator for a bomb. But of course, please correct me if I'm wrong. And with that, we have reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's content, and if you did, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel to join our amazing community. Furthermore, don't forget to go to r/RipeStories on Reddit to post your own stories if you want me to read them out in a video. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I see you again tomorrow.